Good morning, everybody. This is Martin John, and we are here to talk about the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written in the 6th century BC, presumably by a guy Lao Tzu, and is filled with all sorts of enigmatic wisdom and text on how we can live a more reasonable life. Life is a reasonable thing to live, just in general. We need to be reasonable not only to the world around us, and I was thinking about this morning, we need to be reasonable in terms of allowing other things and other beings in the world, not only other people, but plants and animals and all these things, to do what they want to do. But, and this always comes down to these couple things like, when I talk about living reasonably, it comes down to this idea, it just slipped through my mind. I'm sure I'll come up with it again because it's a statement I always use. Allowing other things to do what they want, but we have to allow ourselves to do what we want as well. But what we want can't necessarily involve or implicate others, right? So, we want to be able to surrender. We do want to surrender to the freedom of other people. We want to surrender the idea that we can't control others. We want to surrender to the idea that we are a certain way. I was thinking about this in terms of my climbing. A lot of people have invited me or wanted me or tell me that, one day you'll go outside, you'll climb outdoors. And I'm like, I've never had a desire to climb outdoors. One person said, was it fear? And I was like, no, it's just no interest. There's no interest in me climbing outdoors. And I would have to drive, multiple hours to get to a place in order to drive outdoors or to climb outdoors. I don't have any interest in climbing outdoors. And then I thought back yesterday to the time I was inspired to actually go to a climbing gym for the first time. And that had everything to do with me feeling locked out and intrigued by a climbing wall that had a fence around it in my neighborhood that was getting gentrified. So I had this paradoxical sort of experience of I'm not allowed to do this, and the wall that I'm looking at is filled with all these colors and all these things, and it's intriguing. So I felt both of those things at the same time, drawn to it and pushed away from it or repelled by it. And due to that, it has nothing to do with climbing outside for me. So that interest may never come. Frederick, how are you? Sometimes people join me and either aren't quite sure what they did or how they joined me. Or have mic. Frederick, obviously, you don't have a mic problem because I can hear you. Frederick, I don't know if you meant to join me. But I can go ahead and take you off stage just in case that was an error. If you did want to come up and talk to me, definitely join me again. But yeah, so this idea of what are you interested in? And are you going to, what is it that you're going to do, right? So there's a number of things that happened to me recently, right? Like my sister's fiance invited me to go to a barber, and I'm like, I don't have any interest in that. I've been cutting my own hair since I was 14. I've been shaving my own, and I haven't been clean shaven, since I was 18. So, Frederick's going to join me. So Frederick, how are you? Wonderful. I think are you far from your mic? Frederick, are you with me? Okay. I'm going to take you off again. I know you came back up, but my guess is that was just erroneous. So, yeah, so where was I? Yeah, so with my climbing, the reason that I started climbing was because I had this judgment in my mind about this experience that I had when I was younger. And so my climbing today was just to face that. Well, everybody at the climbing gym is like, well, are you going to climb outdoors? And I'm like, well, no, I don't, that I was never drawn to climbing outdoors. You know, I drive by a quarry every time I go to the climbing gym, and I look out the window, I'm like, if that had the ability for me to climb, I'd go there, because it's less distance than it is to the climbing gym. So I would climb in the quarry. There's nothing actually keeping me from climbing outdoors other than I don't want to invest hours in driving to a place to climb when my relationship with climbing has to do with this judgment that I had as a kid. And maybe one day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to climb. Same thing with the Camino that I, walked in Spain. It's very similar, where it's like, I'm not going to do that. And what I like to say is, you're going to do it until you don't. You're not going to do it until you do. So I'm not going to climb outdoors until I do climb outdoors. And the moment it becomes an interest for me, the moment that it comes into my mind that I want to do that, I will. There's nothing that's going to stand in my way. There's no story that's standing in my way. There's just no interest. Now, I have to live reasonably, meaning that I have to know that, this doesn't have to be something that I do. And I don't want to control other people's idea about me not climbing outdoors. I went out the other day and met with a friend of mine, and she asked, she didn't ask. She said, you know what you should do? And I was like, I kind of just smirked, because the word should is one word that, I don't should on myself. So I don't know why you're shooting on me. She was like, you know what you should do? And I was like, what should I do? And she didn't even recognize me asking that question as being like, I think she was really just, lost in her own mind of should, and so she should on me, telling me that I should go to a place to climb. And I appreciate it. I'm open to the suggestion. I'm open to all of these ideas that other people have, and I can receive them. And if I receive them with any resistance, because I didn't really resist what she said. She was like, you should come with us when we go climbing in this place. And I was like, oh, well, and I reiterated, I don't have any interest in climbing outdoors. However, with the invitation, I'll put it in my noggin and I'll let that swim around. And that might inspire me to do the thing, right? It might inspire me to wake up one day and go, oh, I'm going to climb now. I'm going outdoors to climb, But as of right now, I don't have to prove anything, right? I can be me. This also kind of revolves around, and this is what's interesting, like these two things kind of happened right around the same time. And they're sort of different things, but they're connected, where my sister's fiance invited me to, go to a barber and get a hot shave and stuff. I'm like, I haven't shaved my face to the skin since I was in high school and had to do it. I haven't, and I've never gotten like a prim thing with my face, like, they call it a lineup, I guess, where they make sharp lines of your beard on your face. I'm like, that would not appeal to me in any way, right? Now, if it does appeal to me, I would go do it. But to me, it just seems like performance, right? To me, it seems like I wouldn't want to engage in that. Same with climbing outdoors. It's like, I'm okay with my relationship with climbing the way it is, and I don't have anything to prove. I'm okay with the way I keep my hair and beard or whatever, and I don't have anything to prove, and I don't have to look better. I don't have to be better. I am good with who I am. Now, when I get inspired to go climb or go to a barber or whatever, I go and do that thing, because that thing is something that's inspired within me. I'm not going to double down on my identity of being the person that says no to this. It's just currently I'm saying no to it. And maybe there'll be a point in my life, and I'll be open to this point when it arrives, just like I did the Camino. So the Camino was something that, I kind of had an idea that I'd do it someday. And I didn't know when and didn't know how and whatever. And then I woke up one day and I was like, oh, I'm going to do the Camino this year. And then I find out, it's connected with other things. It's like, my friend had died, right? My friend had gotten murdered, and he went to the Camino, and he and I met when he was we met in Spain. We had met in Chicago, and then we just met up in Spain when he was done with his Camino. And so, all these things are tied together. All these things are happening. And this is the whole, like, we'll see. I'm going to do it until I don't mentality of like, all right, I'm going to say no to this until I say yes. And that yes is going to come from me. It's not going to come from someone else. It's not going to come from someone shooting on me. It's not going to come from somebody telling me in order to be valuable, I need to be a certain way. I'm going to grow. I'm going to be who I am, and I'm going to allow myself to change. When I had the thought of not going to get the shave, I was like, well, am I closed off to this? Or is it truly that I just don't want to engage in this? And then I was just like, just inside, I don't want to do this. I don't even want to, I have no interest whatsoever. Same thing with climbing outdoors. Like, do I want to do this? Am I afraid? Is this something that, is going to test me, and I don't want to be tested? I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with any of that. It's all just, I am currently only attracted to a certain portion or certain part of these experiences. Julie, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, I'm good. We are about to transition again from this beautiful space to a few weeks back in the van.
Okay, well, how's the weather? It looks like it's sunny in your new picture, getting some sun.
Yeah, too right. Looking good. See, this is me, right? This is me with my hair in a bun, nice little earrings in, taking a photo for exactly those things that you said.
Yeah.
But I took that for me because it's not there, for me, it reminds me of the value I've given myself. And when I've done that, I receive the value from the experiences I have as well on the same level.
Absolutely.
So I get what you're saying about climbing. There are some elements of it that are enjoyable to you. There are elements of climbing or the experience of climbing that you enjoy in a particular way. And that's great. That's fine. You don't have to do the other stuff. We got this beautiful thing called choosing and choice. Why have we got choosing and choice? So that we can utilize it. That's why. And you're right. We've got nothing to prove to anybody or even to ourselves. Nothing.
And even, even those choices can often get confusing because I could very easily be saying no to something that I am secretly or quietly afraid of. And facing those things and facing those choices and making different choices than you are, currently willing to make. That's important. That's an important thing.
Yeah.
It's important to challenge your knee-jerk reactions of no, because no is so easy.
I agree, and I think it challenges your bias,
Right.
because that's what it is. When we make a choice, we are biased towards the choice that we make for whatever reasons. But when we do that, then we close off any information from doing anything other. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. So on both of these parts, right, these climbing outdoors and going to get a shave from a barber or whatever, right?
I
Both
get the
of these
shave
things.
thing. Can I just say something about that? I was having a conversation about the fashion of beards at the moment. And I was saying to Brad, I don't think I could cope with you with these sharp lines or a beard strap that was so immensely tidy. It just reminds me of people with a helmet on, minus the helmet, but the strap's there. But
it doesn't appeal to me in any way.
No, it's not. Some people, that will be an enjoyable experience, you see. They will enjoy the pampering, the attention from the barber, the skill set of the barber. They'll enjoy all of that. They'll enjoy the feel of it all. Great. That's great.
And to feel like they're a part of a group, because this is
it's a fashion.
This hyper groomed sort of, like back in the 80s and early 90s, we had metrosexuals, which opened up the door to, like men being in a beauty sort of, I don't want to call it a beauty pageant, but in a role of performative beauty in one way or another.
Yeah.
And now we're in that again with a whole different kind of a thing, because there's like, I'm sure the barbers are going to be all jacked and muscular and like like they're going to have their sharp ridged like beards, and they're all tidy and trim, and it's like there's this
fashion. It's kind of built for you to buy. Okay.
Right. It's a consumer choice, I always, like back in the day, I was like, when vegetarianism became a consumer choice, I just was like, I lost respect for vegetarians. I'm like, if you are just making a consumer choice, then this is, if it's not socio-political, if it's not if it's not driven by that thing, like, well, then you're just making a consumer choice. Like, there's no reason that you need to have any more value in the world than the person choosing Doritos or choosing, overly processed foods or choosing meat, because it is just a consumer choice at that point. Yeah. You're not making any lifestyle choices.
Brad has been pescatarian for 28 years.
Yeah.
I've been an omnivore for 59 years.
Yeah.
And it's what I like to do. Brad will quite happily make his own choices from his own ethical stance and beliefs, but he doesn't push those on me, and he also doesn't go on about it.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's so important in all of these where it's
I have lamb chops, which are my favourite. I love lamb chops and mint sauce. Absolutely love it. And
I picked up some goat yesterday. I'm going to be cooking this week. Yeah. I eat organ meats, and I eat stomach, and I eat intestine, and I eat all these things. I don't know that I go on about it. I mention it. Because it is part of my diet. And people often ask me about my diet. But in all of these cases, it's about just doing what you do. Like when the Tao says, do what you do and move on, it isn't yours anyway. It's not about proving that you're right or wrong, whether that, and I would never, like this person said to me the other day, what you should do? Yeah. I would never shit on someone like that. Yeah. I would never do that. Like this idea, I hear people telling me about like they have inflammation problems and stuff like that. And I go, like MS is inflammation and I use my diet. That's all I say.
Yeah.
And then if they want to inquire further, because this person who told me what I should do also, asked me to provide her with tinctures. The idea is, that I know what I should do.
Yeah.
I know what I should do, but it doesn't align with what you think you should be doing. And maybe that's why you're telling me what I should do.
Yeah, it's all a bit nuts, isn't it, really? I love a good bit of should.
Yeah.
It's almost like an education for me. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Like I've said before, you give people time. Give yourself time.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll discover who you are.
You'll
discover who you are away from everything else.
And that's why that one Tao talks about, alone, you don't have to be anything. You don't have to, like when you, normal men, like regular men will avoid.
You can read that one for me if you like, Martin John. That sounds
let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Like ordinary men. I think that's the ordinary men. How do you spell ordinary?
Ordinary.
Ordinary men. No, that's not it. Oh, here's another one. Bending of a bow, living in a damaged state. Ordinary men are well aware of this. It's all ordinary men. It's
that's what it's about.
Yeah, that's right.
No. Come to mind the rest of the verse.
I'm trying to, yeah. What was it saying? Ordinary men
we were
go against Tao by doing what? What am I talking? What are we talking about?
Maybe
by what?
Proving who you are. Proving. Yeah, try that word.
I don't know if that word is in there.
Proof.
Prove. Well, the danger of extremes, having to prove yourself will allow challenges to best you. No. It's totally skipped my mind now.
Let's go 53, Martin John. Let's see what
let's do 53. Tao is easy. Let's do that. And then, because it was on the tip of my tongue, but then when I started reading the ordinary men, like all three verses that utilize that phrase are not the thing that I was looking for.
Yeah, it'll come.
Yeah. There is nothing simpler than to walk the way of Tao. The only thing you'd fear is getting sidetracked, and yet many people think there is an easier way. They pacify themselves with possessions and entertainment, distracting themselves enough never to see their bankrupt lives. This is good either way. They continue to acquire and convince others to join them in struggle. Eating and drinking, yet consumed by starvation and thirst. Excess is a thief, and the victim is the true self. This is not easy. This is not Tao. This one is really good for what we're talking about, right? Because, like they convince others to join them in struggle. You know what you should do, right? Like that's what you're right. You're trying to convince me to join you in your struggle, in striving,
controlling.
Right, in pacifying yourself with possessions or entertainment. The possession of a success or a beard or whatever, or the entertainment of your own ego.
Yeah.
Distracting themselves enough never to see their bankrupt lives. So you are distracted enough by, and I'm not saying that everybody who goes outdoor climbing is distracting themselves by their ego. Some of those people, I am absolutely sure, are just driven to do it and do it. They might be at one
with the rock. They might be one at one
absolutely.
With the it's just their
the thing is that's not me.
That's right.
At this moment. Right. And the thing is when I was an artist, when I claimed to be an artist, I always had this doubt. I'm close, but I'm not. And it took me until I got diagnosed with MS to actually finally step away from art as a career, as being an artist, because I knew that I was never going to be one with the rock in that sense, right? One with the art. I was never going to be that. And so I didn't want to pretend anymore that that's who I was. So I didn't want to continue to pacify myself. What's that?
Hence no struggle and strife.
Right.
Because now you can enjoy art.
Right. I can enjoy it from this place of like innocence, and I can talk about art from a very high place, and even other artists can't match me in my ability to observe art.
Yeah.
Because I'm not doing it with any, I'm not trying to get any.
There's no proving.
Yeah.
There's no ego. There's no want. There's no starvation there, Martin.
Right. No, it feeds me. It doesn't bankrupt me.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm not here to convince others to join me in my lie of myself. I one time, like early in my decision to step away from the arts, I told someone, oh yeah, well, I've stepped away from the arts and I've moved into wellness. Or why would you step away from the arts? Brr, 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 the arts, you know, and it's like,
should.
I was like, I don't have anything. I don't feel that way. You know, I don't feel this way that like art is this pinnacle of anything. You know, it's just another thing. Art is just
belonging. It doesn't belong to you, and you're not holding on to it.
You know art. Someone knows plumbing. You put yourself above the plumber. That's your problem.
Yeah.
Not the plumber's and not mine.
Yeah.
Right. We're happy with our choices. You have to put yourself on some scale. That's not my problem.
That's not my path and not my journey.
Yeah. Not my circus, not my monkeys.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Martin John, it's always lovely to talk to you. You always get me pondering and at the same time enjoying in this moment. This is what I love about having a conversation with you. It's almost as if I expand with where I'm at right now, and I absorb it and enjoy it, and then I can, you know, look at it from all sorts of different perspectives and not own it. It's nice to remember that I'm not that special. I'm not that unique. I'm not that whatever title I want to give myself. I'm a spirit. I'm a being experiencing. That's it. And we're all doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're all doing that.
And I feel so grateful for you and for everybody else that you know accepts that invitation.
It's lovely. Thank you so much for
Absolutely. And it's an important thing, I think, like when we engage with people to have an invitation. And I think when you should on someone, that's not an invitation so much. Hey, JK, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am well.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's hard. I know when I start really looking at what I like, what I don't like, and not just saying yes or no. You know, my little guy actually said that to me recently. He goes, "But you like saying yes," and I said, "I sure do until I don't." and he looked at me and he goes, "Well, what does that mean?" I said, "I'm just as happy saying yes as I am saying no," and that wasn't always the case, you know. But it's that piece and looking at it when I stepped away from some things, like when somebody invites me somewhere now and I'm like, no, I'm good, you know, but you used to do this. And I said, well, today I'm not, you know, and I just kind of leave it there. But it was hard at the first because people, you know, it's like, you know, the universe is giving you that not a test, but it's giving you that experience over and over again of saying, hey, you know, what am I doing here? Am I going to really lean into this, or am I going to go back to just being a version of me that I didn't really endorse? That's not something for me. You know, I didn't like that, and allow myself to change essentially. And some people change with you and some people don't. And that's okay too. People can shit on me all they want, but I'm still not going to do it.
Right.
So, and that's the way it is. And so it's just an inquiry, but it's interesting to have those experiences now, especially because I always do think about it too, because I don't know if is it fear, because I would lean into something because I was a little bit afraid of it, because I didn't want to be afraid.
Yeah.
Now I have to look at that. I had to look at that then because that became, I was leaning too far to this way. So always saying, lean into it when you're afraid. Well, no, there's no right answer here. So
Right,
you got to
right.
figure out
And
who you
again, this
are.
is about doing what you do and moving on. If at this moment what you do is lean into it, great, do that. But if, and it always comes down to this idea of like, it's not what we do, it's what we do with it. Right. So like if we have an experience, if I go, because who cares if I go get a Charleston chew? But if I eat it and don't like that I'm eating it, then I have to take that into consideration and realize that, well, maybe I don't endorse eating this Charleston chew. Maybe I don't endorse doing this thing that I'm doing. Maybe I don't endorse leaning in. Maybe my leaning in is the thing, and that's what teaches. This is why there's no right answer.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I do. I do agree, and it's an interesting kind of thing. Me trying to figure out a right answer. Even still, sometimes I catch myself saying, and then I have to ask myself, there's no difference between yes and no. There's no, and remind because it's so embedded. Finding that right answer. I remember Eddie had said to me. He goes, how come you don't know things? I said, because I don't. And he said, well, he goes, Alexa always knows things or whoever, whatever AI thing that I forget what they had used in school. And I said, okay. I said, but anybody can give you an answer. I said, doesn't mean it's it's the one that you want to engage in. And, he looked at me and that's just the truth. I said, anybody can give you an answer, but you are the only one that can determine if that's the quote unquote right answer for you.
Right.
But that's me telling me all the time because he doesn't know what the hell I'm saying. He's 6. He's looking off in Neverland. So, but
Right.
those moments are so
There's
nice.
paradox he's not going to be able to understand until he's an adult.
Of
But
course.
he energetically, you are establishing something within him just by holding these paradoxes in your own mind.
Mm-hmm.
Just by being in his presence. While you are struggling with, or struggle is a strong word, but you know what I mean. While you're thinking about these things, gives him an upper hand in his own evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not that he doesn't understand, he can't articulate, but I just be aware of your the idea that you don't want to limit your idea of him at all either, right?
No, and I don't. I'm saying he doesn't understand because I don't fully comprehend it either.
But
Especially within
that doesn't comprehend and understand are very different things.
I'm
That's
not
the thing.
just
He can't articulate it, but he can probably understand it energetically much more than you can because he is in touch. He has less baggage than you do. So he can get through his baggage a whole lot easier. Now, he's going to still create his own baggage and stuff, but he might be in a place where he won't be able to articulate it. But he's going to have inklings that he'll be closer to than you do. And his being 6 is actually a benefit for him. Yes, he's still going to have to get to 32 before he's going to be able to articulate this or be able to do anything with it. But he can live without doing, and that's what we're trying to do anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't discount the child part of it.
Yeah, of course.
I just also come from, where my influence was and where that, me telling me it's for me is because of how much I tried to teach Grace. And I was always
Right.
telling her what she should do,
Right.
because that was right for me. And the point with him is that it's for me because the minute I start thinking I'm doing him a favor, I've gone astray in
That's
my
right.
mind. And
And the
so
thing
it's not
is,
about his intelligence, about him, I do say, well, he's 6, but it's the way I am able to, in my head, not thinking I think my kids are brilliant. The stuff that comes out of kids' mouths, it's amazing. But I don't do or say because of anything to teach, especially with him. I try not to get caught up in that. And that is kind of the language in my head that I use to remind myself, hey, you know, this is for you. Every time it's for you.
yeah.
So,
And like you wanting to control Grace, Grace needed that for
of
whatever reason.
course, that's her experience. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're having, maybe lack of a better term, matured since being able to be a mom to Eddie. Now he's having a different experience, and and that is going to be, and who knows what's gonna, and this is what's so beautiful about it. You're at this time seeing in real time. Obviously, it's the only way we can see anything. All right, I don't necessarily like that term, but in real time, you're seeing you're seeing Grace face all of these things in her life with all of this, beauty and grace, like in her life. And so much of that is because of what you had to offer her as an, overbearing mom or whatever, however, we want to kind of look at that. And Eddie's going to have a completely different, and it's so beautiful to watch these two mature in different ways at different times, and all, like with you at you can observe this, like, and then you could look at yourself and find those things, and then you can continue to mature. And this is the great kind of puzzle of life, and how we all come together, and like the fact that you and I are connected. And so my life cannot be without you, because you have, inspired different things within me, and all of that is just, it's all these ripples out in the world.
Mm-hmm. And I have to be in the place I am today for the person she is today. And it's
Yeah.
always that perfect. And we don't really understand. I forget which one. We had read one yesterday that said something like this about,
35.
not knowing. And really I think it's hidden within action. It's hidden. And that idea of it being hidden, because we don't know. Now we can say something that we think we are doing an influence, but we really don't know if there is an influence or not. It could be. But a lot of the stuff, I don't know if that's the verse or not, but a lot of the stuff that, we do on a day-to-day basis, we don't have any clue what's being inspired in other people. Even if they tell us, it may or may not be what what we hear is something different. And so letting go of that control. But she needed the mom today that was doing this kind of stuff, was saying, what I say today to get through whatever's next for her, and vice versa. I needed the girl or the young woman that's in front of me today to inspire something within me. And so we're perfectly brought together
Do you
all
have a
the
number?
time. I do. Shoot, I think it's 43.
Oh,
If not, it's 43.
no, that's 43. 43. Be silent and learn. The flexible will outlast the rigid. The gentle will outlast the hard. Tao, which has no structure, has penetrated all, even that which has no space to enter. Through this, I see that unforced action and silence are the only path to completeness. Action free of expectation and desire. This is the lesson of the nature of things. Listen to your nature. Be silent and learn.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, it's when we talk about parenting, which we have been circling the drain on, flexibility, you raised Grace one way, you raised Eddie another way. That's flexible. The gentle will outlast the hard. The idea that this new gentle kind of parent that you have become is going to last a lot longer than the rigid parent that you entered this with, right? It's going to outlast. That rigid parent that you were wasn't going, like, everyone was going to get sick around you eventually, Through this, I see unforced action and silence are the only path to completion. It's like, rather than trying to force yourself to be a certain way, rather than force them to be a certain way, just like you like to say yes, but only until you don't want, until you don't. And then, again, that's flexible. Action free of expectations and desires. You don't have to expect anything of anybody. And this allows them to be who they are. And that is the lesson of the nature of things. To not have expectation and desire for things is to open yourself up to seeing what they actually are. It says, listen to your nature. Be silent and learn. And I think we were talking about that with Julie as well. Listen to your nature. Listen, like, I don't want to go climbing. I don't have a desire to go climbing outdoors. That doesn't mean I don't have like, if I were to do it, I would not do it. It's not like I'm planting my flag and not climbing. It's just like, I don't want to drive 3 hours to do it. Like, I'd rather just go to the gym. I'm good. But one day I might just be like, oh, this is something you want to do, and I'll do it. So I don't have to have any expectation to do it. I don't have any desire to do it until that arrives. And when it arrives, I will deal with that when it comes. I will listen to my nature.
Yeah, I heard there's a guy, I was doing my pottery thing, and the guy was there, and he does a hand build class. Eddie kept asking to do a hand build class, so we're going to do one on Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I've hand built all of my ceramic stuff. I've never used a wheel. I like. Oh,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see. I haven't tried it before, but we're going to do this little monster box thing. But he was telling me about how, I guess, I don't know if he used the word should or not. I didn't hear either way, but, basically to prepare and have my son prepare for what he's going to build. I mean, I'll mention it to him, but the guy went on for a while, and I just kind of just let him go. And I said, yeah, okay, thanks. And I just went back to, but I'll mention it to Eddie, but I'm not going to prepare him. That dude has his own vision, and I allow him to be inspired as he is.
As long as he knows he's going to do it, he'll be prepared. That's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to bring up Johnny, and then Marianne is in the queue. So if you got the time, Marianne, definitely hang out. I got all my J's today. Julie, JK, Johnny. What's going on, Johnny? Been a while, man.
Morning, Martin, John. Yeah, I just thought I'd join as another J. I thought,
give me the trifecta. It's great. It was funny actually that you joined, because as I was doing my segment intending for my show, you came to mind, and I was like, I wonder if Johnny's going to come up today. Here you are.
Oh, lovely. And that's actually something I have taken away. Although we didn't work on it specifically, you have spoken about segment intending before, and I have a segment intending journal. And I often write in it, actually, like before sort of an appointment, or before before any major appointment or anything I'm trying to put out into the world. I set that intention.
It's such a good little thing. It's, and I don't see one of the things that I don't talk about with clients and stuff is like how. This is why I kind of do that. We work together for a month, and then you have 3 months, because you have to figure out the how. I have some tools that people can use, journaling, segment intending, all of that stuff. And I talk about that here on this kind of free platform, whatever. It's all good. But I don't try and and tell people, well, this, you know what you should do. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I don't want to do that. But what I want to do is give you enough space and enough confidence to figure it out yourself. You know, and you know, you can pick up little tips and stuff from this show and from listening to the, you know, my old conversations and other things like that. There are these little things that you can pick up. And I don't use, like, because I have a planner. I'm coming up. I started my planner as soon as I got back from the Camino, which was the beginning of April. And it's a 3-month planner. I'm getting to the beginning of July. Do the math. I'm just about done with this planner. And daily, I'm kind of just about done with having a planner. You know, wow. Like I'm just like, okay, I need to put this down soon because it's not, I'm getting what I would consider diminishing returns. Yes. You know, from doing the planner. That doesn't mean that in a month I won't be ready for a planner again, but I don't want the structure to get in the way anymore. You know, I only got another like 2 weeks, and so I'll probably finish it out just for, you know, the purpose of, you know, being able to toss it and feel like I've given it, I've used everything up. Because there are some things that, you know, I don't want to fall through the cracks and have to just kind of get seen through. But, you know, I'm going to be going to Virginia in a couple weeks, and then there's something else is happening in August, and, you know, and like, so there's these things that there's some monkey wrenches in the works that I have to deal with, and I'm not going to want a planner during those times. And I realized that this morning when I was writing in my planner, I'm like, you know what? I'm grateful for this planner, but I'm also grateful that we're just about done with it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. About 2 years ago, I started, religiously, I was going to say, but I started very consistently using a planner. And in the last few weeks, it's really, I've just had no urge to do it. And that's very unlike me. I've now, as you're talking, I realized I was planning my week so rigidly. I lost the flexibility. Right. And I'm committing to things that actually, when actually they came round, I wasn't actually that fussed about doing them. And yeah, it's really interesting. I hadn't realized that because I thought that planner was such a good thing for me. And I think it has been. Yeah. But I've just, I've lost it.
Everything runs its course, man. You know, and that's why I like the 3-month planner, because it's like, you know, and if I was in a different mental state, in a state where it's just like, oh man, this is it, and I'm on it, and every morning I get up and I'm excited. You know, now I get up and one of the nice things about the planner is that I don't forget to take my supplements or my tinctures and stuff like that, because I got to take them multiple times a day and stuff, you know. And so it's nice to be able to be like, did I take them today? Because, you know, you take them every day, you forget. So it's a nice thing. Yeah. And, you know, and I realized that all I have to do is put 2 boxes on each day of my calendar on the wall, and then just check it off there, you know. And so when it comes time to, you know, like, and that's a good thing, but my planner, you know, it's a wonderful thing, and I love having a planner, but I also only do it, you know, maybe half the year, sometimes less, sometimes more. You know, it's a 3-month planner, so like I might go through 2 or 3 planners a year, and but I need the freedom to not have a planner as well. Like when I was going to Spain, I wasn't using a planner, but I still had things I had to do. So I just made lists, you know, little lists and stuff that just kind of like helped me prepare to go to Spain. But then when I got back, planner, you know, I was just like, it's time, you know, and it's important to be flexible and to realize that, you know, like, just like JK was saying, like, yeah, I love saying yes until I don't. I love using a planner until it becomes its own burden.
Yeah. And I think flexibility is the key that's coming across. And it's interesting, the topics that you've been talking about. You were talking about choice with Julie, and you were also talking about being should on, or, you know, that you don't should on yourself. And I'm in and one of the reasons I popped up today was actually because I have a choice now. I've got a bit more clarity potentially on what's happening with me. And it looked like some of my nerves are being compressed. And so I need to seek out a cranial sacral therapist or a cranial osteopath. And and in the past, I've been in this place before, similar place, and I've acted out of fear rather than intuition. And I think I'm trying to trust my trying. There's that word trying. That's not great.
Okay. It's okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm intending to work more.
It's just words. I'm glad you noticed it, because like I didn't even hear it really. I mean, but you like the fact that you're like the words don't mean as much, but you do have to look back, right? It's always about this idea of like hindsight. Like you said try, recognize you said try, and you're just like, oh, I'll look at that. You don't have to correct it because you don't know what you're correcting yet. Yes. But look at the idea that I'm trying. Well, what is it that I'm trying? Like really kind of take into consideration the fact that you're telling yourself something, and then really look at it from that perspective of like, of curiosity instead of judgment, of like, I don't want to try. It's like, that's some Yoda stuff. Like, whatever. There is no try, do, right? Like, yeah. and who cares? Who cares if you're trying? And if that slipped out, you recognize, if I don't want to remember, like, I don't know if I told you about the journaling and my adventure with the word should.
No.
When I was journaling, I started recognizing, this is many years ago. I think I was early in recovery, if I even started my recovery yet. Because I started doing The Artist's Way back in like the 90s, like 1994, 1995. As soon as it came out, it was like right away. I started doing The Artist's Way, and they have you do morning pages. Well, those morning pages were just 3 pages every morning. And you never read them, or no, you don't go back and you don't read them, all that kind of stuff. That is what I took away from The Artist Way. And that's something that I've been doing since then. So I've been doing this journaling almost nonstop since the 90s, 3 pages a day, more or less. I mean, there are days like this morning I didn't write because I just sat quietly this morning when I woke up. But either way, I do a lot of journaling. And in the beginning, I started recognizing that almost on every line of my journal, I would use the word should. I should do this. I should do that. This should happen. Just should. Yeah. And I recognize that should is an idea that I have that came to me through someone else. Someone else is telling me I should be doing something. And they're judging me from that standpoint. So it's not my own thought. If I'm using the word should, it's not my own thought because I either want to do something or don't want to do something. That's it. It's not about I should, because I should comes from somewhere else. It's like I should do laundry. Why? Because I don't want to be judged for being stinky, or I don't, like whatever, all of this kind of stuff. So what I started doing was physically scratching out the word should in my journal. And within weeks, the word dropped from my vocabulary because I was actively watching myself and changing. So I would scratch it out and replace it with, I want to go to the store today, or I don't want to go to the store today, but I'm going to anyway because I need food, right? So it's not about doing or not doing what you want to do or don't want to do. It's about recognizing what you want to do or don't want to do and doing what needs to be done anyway.
Yes. And that's key, isn't it? That's one of the lines you use often. And, it's in the Tao, isn't it, as well? Do what you need to do and move on. And I think, right. or something along those lines, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, do what needs to be done and move on. It isn't yours anyway.
Yes, exactly. And that's lovely. I know I know you've got another guest. So you
got a number?
I don't. So could you pick a?
Oh yeah, this is my first random of the day. Number 21. Tao is not temporary.
Oh wow. Okay.
The master is at peace, knowing she is of manifestation. And that manifestations are always temporary. Knowing this, she always follows Tao. How could she be at peace knowing she is temporary? Because She doesn't cling to her life or ideas, and still she is fulfilled. Tao cannot be fathomed or known. How can she follow it? She allows it to lead her from moment to moment. Tao is and is always, even before the manifestation of time and space. Tao is beyond both temporary and forever. How do I know this to be true? The evidence is within me as it is within you.
Yeah.
You know, as I think about, journaling, as I think about these things we face in our life, even your back and your ability to walk and all of these things, right? Like, this is temporary. This struggle is temporary, and
one way or another, yes.
Right. And I'm not trying to sugarcoat it or anything. It's not like I mean, your walking situation may never change, but your life is temporary. Thus, this is temporary.
Yeah.
Right. And this is why that question comes in: how can she be at peace knowing she's temporary? Because she doesn't cling to her life or ideas. Clinging to the idea that you should be walking differently.
Yeah.
Or you shouldn't be experiencing something. Clinging to that makes it impossible to be at peace knowing you're temporary. And that's why that question is so important. How can she be at peace knowing she's temporary? Because she doesn't cling. And that's it. Like, if, I have a neighbor who has, must have had a tooth pulled or something, and half of her jaw is numb.
Oh, no.
And, like that is just, even when I had my wisdom tooth pulled, they had me sign a waiver saying that I understand the risk that can happen. It didn't happen to me. But every time I visit this neighbor, she says, I wish they could fix this. I wish they could fix this. I wish they could fix this. And I'm always like, you're going to have to let go of that, because that was like literally 20 years ago.
Wow. Oh, wow.
And you're not going to get it back. Like, I can't come over here and hear a complaint that you've been making for 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also the resistance to it,
right,
stops it from. Your resistance to it stops you from accepting it, which then stops you from the change from happening.
That's right.
Potential change from happening, shall we say?
Absolutely. And all you're doing is clinging.
Yes, exactly.
And it's a sad experience of life to be in a space where it's like you don't even get to experience love of yourself, because when you look at yourself, you only see, oh, this is wrong.
Yeah, you see the flaws or the faults or the perceived faults. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, thank you very much, Martin John. I hope you're enjoying the football, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll speak to you again soon.
It sounds good. And good luck with finding a new craniosacral and finding somebody to, help you with all of this. Being open to finding the right person and hearing them and having that experience of them in your life is the path, So thank you for coming up. Always a pleasure. And I just want to remind everybody, this is so much of what I do, and I do with clients and stuff, is like get people to just have a new perspective on what is happening in their lives. 'Cause, it's so good to be able to just get a little nudge sometimes of like, this is what's true. Hey, Marianne, how are you?
Good morning. I'm good. So you want to hear my stupid story that I'm like actually kind of proud of myself on?
Yeah. Yeah. I do want to say, and I do want to hear it. So this is just, but sometimes when people say, do you want to hear this story? Sometimes I say, no, I don't. So but please tell me anyway.
Okay, I will tell you anyway.
No. So yeah. So no, absolutely. I want to hear, especially because if you're proud of it, because that gives us insight,
Yeah. And now this is going to be stupid, but
good. I like everything's stupid, so it doesn't even matter. It's it's up there with everything else.
That's right. So, I don't know, a week ago, we had to do a little filming of a little scenario, right? And so a little video, and to be an influencer, whatever, it's this cute little title, whatever. And so
what were you doing this? Who were you doing this for?
For my class.
Your deaf and hard of hearing class.
Yeah. I'm in this early intervention class. So it was to tell parents about the importance of eye gaze and, on another thing, but the importance of eye gaze. So you had to do this little quick video. And mine was, it was fine. I had a duck involved with it, so she laughed
like
at
an actual duck or like a puppet, or what are you talking about?
No, a little crocheted duck that Carly had given me for Mother's Day.
Oh,
yeah. So anyway, but Bryn, the instructor, she's like, I know you're not real tech savvy, so do what you can. And so I just sent in this little video, and it was fine, and she enjoyed it, whatever. But so we had to do another one yesterday, and this assignment is we had to do this rhythm and rhyme thing, because with deaf children, it's really important to do like rhythm, like you do in early preschool with like just rhyme, so putting it into sign language. Anyway, so I made up this little rhythm, and I had to video it again. And I'm like, this time I'm actually going to try. And I downloaded a video editing tool.
Yeah.
And so I made my video, and then I edited it for the first time. Mm-hmm. I added 2 Native American words, bozu and miigwech. And I'm like so proud of myself, because I did this on this video and sent it in, and I told Bryn, I'm like, oh, you're going to be so impressed this time. So, I mean, really.
Well, I want, first of all, congratulations on doing that. But I also want to just point out, like in your story, it seems very much like, it was just a natural thing for you to download. Like you wanted to do a better job.
Yeah. And the first one was fine. And
I'm not trying to, it came from you. It wasn't you. And it seemed like it happened. Although I'm sure you learned, and there was a bit of a learning curve, and there was something that you had to, there was probably a little frustration. It might have taken a couple hours to do this. I don't know, but all of that was welcomed by you, right? Yeah. You did this work, and if you felt like you had to do, if you felt like it was coming from outside of you, it would have been harder to learn. The program would have been harder to find. It would have been harder to add. And you, even if you did succeed, you may have wanted to look outside of you for that pride. You would want them to respond to you and tell you that it was good. Because everything leading up to it was coming from outside of you. But that whole thing, when we talk about not having an outcome in mind, not having expectation or desire, you just did it. Yeah. You didn't have to. You didn't have to do this. You didn't have to actually edit anything. But you did it because you wanted to.
Yep.
And you learned all of this stuff. And now you are a different person because of it.
Yeah. So, and I like the fact that Bryn, she never did the should, you should up your game this
Absolutely.
time. I mean, she would take whatever, but for me, it's like, no, this time I want to try something a little different. And
yeah. And that's such a big thing, like when we get, and that's why, and this goes back to people asking you to do things to do that you don't have interest in doing. I mean, eventually people are going to ask me to climb outdoors enough. And then one day I may just be like, oh yeah, today I'm going to do it. Or today I'm going to decide yes. And then I'm going to start making plans to do it or whatever. But until that day, until a time comes when I am just like, I no longer say no. I'm going to say yes. Or until I'm going to no longer say no longer say yes, I'm going to say no. You know, like at some point, things change. You know, like 2 weeks ago, you may have been totally closed off to the idea that you would ever want to edit video on your computer. And then now, because it was just an opportunity for you and you were inspired to do that.
Yeah. So.
And that just, not only should you be proud of the fact that you edited the video and added these words into your video, you also listened to yourself and had enough faith and trust in yourself in an area that, you know, you would say you're not an expert or you can't do something. Like you're not tech savvy, right? That's an old idea of what Marianne is. But the thing is Marianne is everything, connected to everybody. You're connected to Steven Spielberg, right? Like you're connected to the editors of all of these great movies because you are a human being and they are too. And so we're all connected and you have the ability to learn anything. You have the ability to achieve anything. And that's why it's all stupid. Because regardless of what you achieve, it's not something to necessarily celebrate, but you celebrate it because you love it. It's not something that you have to win an award over. No. But it is something that is rewarding.
It is award worthy.
What's that?
It is award worthy, though.
I'm sure it is. You know, but that's the thing. You are the reward.
That's right.
You know, because you are now a different person. You now have a video editing program on your computer, like already. Like there is something different about you now.
Right. And I could do it again. Do I want to? And this kind of goes back to your whole climbing. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm never, ever going to use it again. But absolutely. I did it one time. And I'm also not hard on myself. I mean, it's 2 words that I put in there.
But that's not the point, right? Exactly. Again, we can always, we can always pull out the but, you know, like, yeah, it's a success, but yeah, it's this, but
this is a success.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like you can only, you know, like in soccer sometimes you can only play your opponent, you know, like you didn't, it's not like, and this isn't necessarily an opponent, but it's just like you can only do what you can do and you only had to do this. It's not like they were like, all right, put yourself in front of a green screen and have Godzilla come up and you have to edit that in there, right? Like it's like, oh no, that's a completely different thing. So, all right, you got a number?
No, I don't.
You don't. Random.
Yes, please.
Number 16. Oh, man. Do you get 16 off in Stillness and Integration?
Oh, I do get that one a lot.
You get one a lot. Yeah. Let's see if it resonates a little differently today because of this. Being empty of mind is of the utmost importance and is to be guarded with fervor. We have all seen states of action arise, and always beyond it returns stillness. When any state of action is complete, it naturally returns to stillness. This allows integration of what arose from action. This is really what we were talking about, you know, this idea that you are now a different person because you listened to your intuition, which is the natural cycle of maturation. If stillness and integration cannot be achieved, constant action will lead to anxiety and wild movements. Yielding to stillness makes one impartial, and all particular things fall away. Then when it is time to die, one can be impartial to that as well. You know, when I read this, and I want to know if anything stood out to you, but when I read this, I really do see this, you maturing. Like this is like the thing that really stood out to me for you is that idea. This is the natural cycle of maturation. Like this, like you are going through maturity. You are maturing in a way that you hadn't previously, right? You're maturing not only in who you are, but what you do and how you engage in those things. And it's not about wanting. It's about being. You know, whether that's the relationship you have with your daughter and the boundaries you create in your relationships and all of these things, but also pushing yourself, putting yourself into things that if you were to stop and think about them, they'd be overwhelming. But you just step up and do them, then it just becomes a part of you, and the old you dies while a new you is born, and you're proud of what you've accomplished. Whether or not you ever do it again doesn't have any merit. It doesn't even matter.
Right. Now the whole verse just kind of sticks out with this whole class I'm taking right now, and just the importance I have of, after I'm done with the class, I do my homework. I am tired, and yeah. And like this morning, I just woke up just really tired again, and I think it's because all this is integrating in me. I mean, it's been an intensive 2.5 weeks of lots of learning. So,
yeah. And that integration period, when I got back from Spain, it took me weeks to be able to integrate 2 weeks of being in Spain, and not only was that like speaking Spanish and listening to Spanish, but also the walking, and also the being around children, and also all of all of this stuff. And the diet and the food and all, like, the integration is the maturity. That's the natural side. We have to give ourselves that time to integrate. We have to be still. And being still doesn't mean like scrolling on our phone, doesn't mean snacking. It means sitting and being like, okay, I'm a little uncomfortable. Can I sit through this a little bit longer before I pick up a snack, or before I pick up my phone, or before I go and do something? Can I just be here with this?
Yeah, I realized yesterday I haven't watched TV for 2 days.
Yeah.
Just nothing. And it's been great, because I am seeking out that quietness way more than I ever used to. So. And
it's there. And the thing is we're, like, this is why, for myself, like when I wake up some days, I'm like, I can feel my stomach, and I'm like, oh, I want to give you a break. And that's when I might fast for the morning, or I might fast for the whole day. But it's like, it doesn't constantly need to be digesting. It doesn't constantly need to be working. I don't constantly need to be, stressed. I don't constantly need to be on the computer. I don't have to watch a show every night. I don't have to, journal every morning. I don't have to have a panda plan. I don't have to have my planner every day either. Right. And that's the thing. It's always about allowing ourselves some stillness after there's some action taken.
Yeah. Well, it's nice. Yeah, totally different than I was used to a couple of years ago. So.
Yeah. It's great how fast it can actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people, and I think that it's the flexibility of just, and it's not the rigidness of being told what to do. It's the fact that you realize it's up to you.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. It's always wonderful to connect. Love you.
Love you too. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
When we talk about the idea that it is up to you, what I mean by that is like, in a deep aware sense, because when you're growing up and you're locked into a frame of reference that the world is a certain way and you're a certain way, or you're locked into a frame of reference that you learned through your parents, or you're learned through survival as a child and other things like that. When you're locked into that, you don't get to be you. You don't get to figure out who you are. It's just, you're out here trying to make it work, And then as you figure yourself out, as you allow yourself that space to make choices that are good for you, find that stillness, get to this place of awareness within yourself, that is when things really start to, fire on all cylinders, and you get to know yourself and grow and mature, and your body responds. Susan, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you.
Good, I'm glad.
I went to my cardiologist yesterday, and my heart is in full natural rhythm.
I had no doubt.
Me too. I just had to tell you.
I'm so glad. This is what, I mean, you're speechless. But really what is so wonderful is like this knowing. And you can't, like, the conversations you've had with your heart, the little things that we've talked about, the growth that you've made since we worked together, all of that kind of stuff, all of these things. Like, all of that can't be pointed to as, in science at least.
Exactly.
As anything. But I can't, I can't accept the fact that it doesn't have,
it's just too obvious, Martin.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, when the Tao says the evidence is within me as it is within you, like, and things like that, it's like, yep, it's right there. And yet I can't tell you something, right? It's like some people say Tao is a silly waste of time. We don't, right?
No,
you know what
don't.
I mean? Because all of this is so connected, and all of this, and to really let go of those old patterns just allows energy to flow, and energy is at the center of all of life, and
it's the key.
It's it. That's everything. So I'm so happy that your heart is doing so well.
I'm so happy too. My heart's happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's nice to have a good relationship with your heart,
yes, it is.
And that's something that, you allowed others to abuse for a long time.
Well, not any longer. I'm
that's
happy
right.
Camper.
Absolutely. And that's everything, like to be able to let go of our own self-judgment or our own little things that, and to be aware of that those things can come in, like, and us not even be aware of them. So like, and that's what, an empty mind, we read it today, this idea of like, it should be guarded with fervor. You energetically keep your mind empty, because at any moment it can be inundated with judgment and pain. And all of these sort of, like, as soon as, like, if you were to stand up and you hurt your back, or your back gets twitched a little bit, boom, your mind will run to, like, oh my God, I'm never going to walk again, or whatever, right? Like, I'm going to be in pain forever, and that's when we kind of realize that we're not thinking clearly. When we think things are not going to change, because obviously they can. And look at your situation.
They do.
Yeah, they do. And they change so quickly. Sometimes for the better, sometimes not. But it's all the experience that we're having, and if we can accept this experience and not look at it as a sentence, right, then we can step into it with grace.
And life is so fun.
It is.
Yeah. What are you doing on the slate?
Well, I'm on the slate. I've been going, I've been trying to go an hour, 20 minutes, because I found that.
That's wonderful, because I get up at 5.
Yeah. So I found that if I can track over one more, time zone, then I can reach more people, like yourself. And stuff.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, I don't, and an hour 20 is not bad for me. Like, I feel like I'm still pretty fresh, and it's good. And, it's a lot of it is about, me wanting to be supported in what I do, and then just being able to reach more people is really important. So I try. Sometimes I don't get the engagement, and so I'll cut it off after an hour, hour 10 or whatever. But an hour 20 is sort of the point where after which I would get diminishing returns, I think. So, cause I'm not going to make it to the top of the next hour to get another, so,
Right.
And I don't want to start later because I'm already up for 2 hours before I do the 6 a.m. thing. So it's like, I don't want to wait another hour. So there's all sorts of stuff, but it's me trying to engage.
Yeah, well, you're engaged.
Yeah,
I found you.
Yeah, I'm good. Well, good. You got a number.
74.
74. I love the higher numbers. Don't cut yourself, girl. Don't cut yourself. I like this one. People are not naturally afraid to die. It is what we are born to do. Fear of death is important if you want to rule over the people. However, you must artificially instill this fear into their hearts. To accomplish this, you kill as an example to control the masses. Since the beginning of time, there has been one executioner. Trying to take its place will lead to nothing good. As a novice with the master carpenter's tools, you're going to cut yourself. A lot of things come to mind with that one. Do you have anything to add?
No, I don't have my book with me, so it's hard for me to remember everything.
Okay. Well, I'm going to read it through. I'm going to talk about what's come to mind.
Good.
So people are not naturally afraid to die. It is what we are born to do. It's like fear. So at the core, we're talking about fear. And I can't help but think about your fear that you have grown not afraid of, right? The fear that drove your life. Fear of death is important if you want to rule over people. However, you must artificially instill this fear in their hearts. And then the fact that we're talking about fear in the heart. I mean, we're talking about your heart. And we're talking about like the fear that you carried in your heart for so long and the abuse that your heart has received from yourself and others. It says to accomplish this, you kill as an example to control the masses. And although that's a big thing, it's like murder, right? Kill. Right. But it's really kill someone's spirit.
Oh.
You know,
that makes sense.
Kill someone's love. Mm-hmm. Kill someone's faith. Kill someone's creativity. You know, by just trying to control them, you kill their faith in themselves. And if you go out in the world and you try and be yourself, well, someone can very easily kill that which is, that which you are, that platform in which you're standing on to be yourself, that identity that you have. And they kill that identity, not you, but they put you down, or they judge you, or they push you out, and you want to be accepted. And so you need a way in, and you do that by being what they want you to be. And it says here, since the beginning of time, there's been one executioner. This is what this is saying by executioner. This is saying, since the beginning of time, there has been one thing, right, Tao, that is going to inspire people to be who they are. And you're going to go out in the world and you're going to have negative experiences, and you have to learn about yourself through that. And that's the executioner, right? That's what that's trying to say. Trying to take its place, meaning trying to control someone else and how they're going to live and how they're going to assume the responsibility of their lives, is going to lead to nothing good. Because they are being guided by Tao. And Tao is the one thing that can give you the experience that you need to be who you are. You needed to have all of the experiences that you needed to have to get to a place where you can question what you're doing so that you can grow into who you are.
Well, that's a great statement.
And then it says, so this is really kind of pointing to people who want to control others.
Right.
You don't want to do that necessarily, but, but this does point to the idea that, like, this was instilled on you through society and through the things that others wanted from you as a young woman, and other things that people wanted from you as, the cool mom, and all of these kinds of things, right? All of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but despite all of that, you still got to be yourself.
I never really understood that verse. And you just kind of opened my eyes to it. Thank you.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's nice to not have the text in front of us, because seeing the words like kill or executioner or the thing is like, because these are all riddles, right? We have to talk in the most extreme, because if we talked in the lighter sense, you're not necessarily going to make it even more extreme, right? You're going to say, oh, this is saying something nice, and I guess that's fine. But that's what I love about reading, is the depth of what it says, not the length of how it says it. Like I'd much prefer to read 6 words that I can think about for 6 years, rather than to read 6 chapters of a book that I'm not going to think about ever again.
Right. That's so true. Well, when I get up, I'm sitting in my recliner looking at the outside and the birds and the squirrels and the
life is
everything.
Easy.
Yeah, it's just it's wonderful. It's just beautiful. So as soon as look, the cardinal just came down.
Oh.
Yeah, he's my buddy.
Cardinal is the Illinois state bird.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of them?
I was born and raised in Illinois, but...
Yeah. Are there a lot of cardinals there?
Yeah, I see cardinals all the time. And dude, one of the most beautiful things, and you've seen this on Christmas cards and things, is a cardinal in the snow.
Oh.
It's just bright red and black, yellow beak, and just surrounded by white, and the dark of a tree or something. It's a stunning, and you see it. It's sort of like seeing a hummingbird up here too. I don't know if hummingbirds are really common by you, but they only because it gets cold here. We don't have them for long parts of the year, and then you might only see a dozen or whatever a year, and so it's a thing. But to see that cardinal in the snow and among the dried reeds and other things like that, it's a sight.
It's beautiful. We have hummingbirds. We have a hummingbird migration that comes through Sedona. And when I always have feeders out, but I'll get 20 and 30 at a time.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
I never saw a hummingbird until I was an adult. And the first time I saw it, I was astonished at how they flew.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I was like, what? Because remember, I grew up in a city, so I thought rabbits were supposed to be in the zoo, and it was a crazy learning curve for me in nature, man. I thought the entire world was paved. I had no idea.
Oh wow. Well, I think it is time to go. It is 5:27.
Sounds good. I love you, dear. Thank you for coming up, and I'm so happy. Your heart is strong. I mean, I've known it all along, but...
Oh, I love you too.
Have a great day.
Talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. I am going to sign off now. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This is such a treat to be able to do this. If you benefit from the work that I do here on Tao of the Day, please consider checking out the links in my profile. And you can support me and support this show through Venmo or Buy Me a Coffee. You can also pick up a copy of my Tao that is available. I'll be happy to put that in the mail for you today if you order. Last thing, I take on clients. So if you like the way I interact with people, and if you see value in what I do, you can set up a 30-minute consult, and we can talk about what it looks like to work with me. It's very different than working with other coaches or therapists or other things like that. It's quick. It's 1 month, and then you're off on your own. But being off on your own doesn't mean you're alone. But yeah, it's a completely different experience. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.